Human extinction due to pole shift. Dark CIA secrets hidden from the public. Welcome to the Eye of Truth. Our Earth, where we live, seems to be a beautiful, harmonious, and stable environment. However, in reality, throughout the long history of Earth, continents have repeatedly merged and separated, and seas have filled and dried up. Furthermore, even meteorites have come from outer space, constantly transforming the appearance of this planet. Nevertheless, these events occur gradually over hundreds of thousands of years, while others may happen only once every few million years. Therefore, within our short human lives of less than 100 years, most people hardly experience the impact of these events. However, it is also a fact that during Earth's 4.5 billion year history, numerous events have led to species extinction. These events are more intense than the separation of continents or the disappearance of seas, and have caused the extinction of many organisms on Earth in a short time. When it comes to extinction topics, we first think of meteorite collisions, but there is another terrifying phenomenon that rivals meteorites. That is the pole shift. Every time a pole shift occurs, it is believed to cause devastating damage to almost all living creatures on Earth, and some argue that it poses a significant threat to current humanity. In this video, we would like to talk about how astonishing the phenomenon of pole shift is, what impact it had on the Earth in the past, and the even more terrifying truth hidden behind the pole shift phenomenon itself. Please stay with me until the end. Let's start from the seemingly unrelated CIA and a certain book. In 1967, the United States enacted the Freedom of Information Act, granting access to information previously known only to the government to the general public. As a principle, all documents, except those with high confidentiality, had to be disclosed to the public. Even for classified information, a rule was established that it must be made public after 50 years from its creation. Based on this law, in 2013, the CIA released a series of documents related to Area 51, admitting the existence of Area 51, which the U.S. government had previously denied. At that time, most of the attention was focused on Area 51, so many people did not notice that among the information released in 2013 was a particular book. The book, titled The Adam and Eve Story, is about pole shift. It was written in 1963, and shortly after its publication, it was classified as secret information by the CIA, and its disclosure to the public was prohibited. However, according to the Freedom of Information Act enacted later, the CIA should have released the information of this book in 2013, 50 years later, but for some reason, only 57 pages of the original 286 pages were actually released. Let's explore why the CIA was so obsessed with this book and why they were afraid of it being published. The author of The Adam and Eve Story is Chan Thomas. In 1993, 30 years after the book was classified as secret information by the CIA in 1963, the author published another version with the same title. This new edition consisted of 240 pages, 46 pages less than the first edition in 1963, and the content of the 57 pages released by the CIA in 2013 is also included in this new version. However, the point to consider about this new edition is that it is likely to be significantly different from the content written in the 1963 first edition. This is because, otherwise, it would have been impossible to publish this new edition without any issues. As for the author, Chan Thomas, there is little information available about him, and some speculate that his existence has been intentionally erased by someone. According to the content of the book, he majored in electrical engineering at Columbia University and then deeply studied fields such as geology, paleontology, oceanography, seismology, and anthropology, eventually conducting research on catastrophism. The catastrophism theory proposes that the current state of the Earth is not the result of gradual changes over long periods, but of sudden, intense changes. Each time such a drastic change occurs on Earth, most of the existing life forms become extinct. Subsequently, new species emerge that are different from those that previously existed, and a new cycle begins. The term cycle is used here because this process has occurred repeatedly throughout Earth's history. This theory was first proposed in 1821 by Georges Cuvier, a French geologist, and was widely accepted for a long time. However, as the theory of evolution gained prominence, the catastrophism theory gradually lost its influence. The author of the Adam and Eve story, Chan Thomas, based his work on over 20 years of accumulated experience and various research findings. He proposed new interpretations about the existence of ancient civilizations and the origins of humanity. Thomas put forth a controversial theory that the true nature of the catastrophes that periodically visit Earth is pole shifts, and that throughout history, numerous civilizations have been destroyed by these phenomena, with new civilizations subsequently emerging in a repeating cycle. In this book, the consequences of a pole shift on the world are described as follows. First, the pole shift itself occurs within just a few days. During this time, Earth's atmosphere is exposed to high-energy particles such as protons and electrons. As a result, electronic devices on the surface are significantly interfered with, causing widespread power outages. Then, immense forces are applied to the Earth's crust, leading to large-scale earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. Consequently, towns collapse and tsunamis strike coastal areas. Ash and lava from volcanic eruptions rain down on the surface, causing catastrophic damage to the surrounding ecosystems. Furthermore, polar sea ice melts rapidly, causing a sudden rise in sea levels. As a result, within a short period, most continents are submerged under the ocean. Just 6 days after the pole shift, the Earth's appearance changes so drastically that it resembles a completely different planet, with the current Antarctic continent moving to a position near the equator. Even if some humans were to survive such a disaster, they would have to start over from the Stone Age. As you can imagine, all the brilliant achievements of modern human civilization would be wiped out by this drastic change. This book, which seems like nothing more than a novel to any reader, was classified as confidential information by the CIA. When logically organizing the story so far, two possible reasons for the CIA's mysterious actions emerge. The first reason is that the large-scale disasters caused by the pole shift mentioned in the book are true. The second reason is the hypothesis that if the general public learns about something related to the pole shift mentioned in the book, it would be inconvenient for the government. Now, let's analyze these two conjectures separately. First, let's consider whether the pole shift is just an urban legend or a real natural phenomenon. The term pole shift actually refers to two different phenomena: geomagnetic reversal and axial reversal. As you may know, the Earth has a magnetic field like a magnet. Geomagnetic reversal is when the Earth's magnetic poles reverse due to fluctuations in the Earth's inner core's magnetism, which means the north and south poles flip. According to modern researchers, this is thought to occur every several 100,000 to a few million years. The other phenomenon, axial reversal, refers to a large-scale upheaval, including changes in the Earth's surface environment and crust, as the Earth's rotation axis tilts and even reverses. However, opinions on axial reversal are divided in the scientific community. Some researchers believe that axial reversal occurred once, 770,000 years ago, based on evidence left in rocks and volcanic ash, and that it occurs once every million years. Others argue that axial reversal does not occur at all. While geomagnetic reversal has some impact on electronics, climate, and living organisms, it is not considered to cause catastrophic damage. In contrast, researchers who believe in the existence of axial reversal argue that when it occurs, it causes significant changes in climate, crustal movements, polar environments, Earth's magnetic field, and sea levels, leading to mass extinctions. Of course, since modern humans have not experienced axial reversal, these disaster scenarios are based on current knowledge and speculation. In the scientific community, where opinions on axial reversal are greatly divided, the influential book, The Earth's Shifting Crust by American professor Charles Hapgood on pole shifts, gained even more attention because Albert Einstein wrote the foreword. In fact, Professor Hapgood also appeared in the recent video on Ancient Map. While researching the ancient map, Piraeus map, he noticed something strange. This map, created in 1513, has a continent that closely matches the shape of Antarctica as seen on modern maps. The clear shape of Antarctica's coastline was only determined after the advent of remote sensing technology in the 1940s. However, the Pyrenees map, created in 1513, already depicts a coastline with the same shape as Antarctica, and it is not covered in ice. Interestingly, annotations on the Pyrenees map reveal that it was drawn based on 20 even older ancient maps. Witnessing this, Professor Hapgood began to think that the Earth's crust might be undergoing major changes, and after various research and investigations, he published his book on pole shifts. The content of Chan Thomas's The Adam and Eve Story, classified as secret information by the CIA, is very close to Professor Hapgood's claims. However, the pole shift described by Chan Thomas is much more intense, occurring more quickly, and causes catastrophic damage to the Earth's organisms. So far, we have discussed the first reason why the CIA classified the Adam and Eve story as secret information, namely the hypothesis that the pole shift is an event that could actually occur. Next, let's explore the second reason, something significant mentioned in the book about pole shifts that would be inconvenient for the government and the general public to know, one of the truths of this world. One of the most notable scenes in the Adam and Eve story depicting the disasters caused by pole shifts is a massive flood that engulfs almost all continents. While drastic changes in climate and the Earth's crust certainly cause significant disasters, they are not enough to inflict fatal damage to civilization. However, if a global flood were to engulf almost all continents, it is hard to imagine a more devastating event for human civilization, which is based on land. This massive flood that destroys the world reminds us of the great flood legends common in old documents and stories from many countries around the world, as discussed in other videos. For example, the story of Noah's Ark in the Old Testament, the flood myth written on clay tablets of ancient Sumerian civilization, the Great Flood described in the Epic of Gilgamesh of ancient Mesopotamia, the Greek Deucalion legend, ancient China's Yu the Great's flood control, and ancient India's Manu's Great Flood legend all talk about a great flood. The reason why similar stories were passed down in different continents far apart from each other in ancient times, when there was no means of communication or transportation, strongly suggests that this world-destroying flood was not a legend, but a real event that everyone living at the time experienced simultaneously. Of course, this claim is not just blindly believing in myths. There are many other pieces of evidence. For example, the discovery of submerged cities and ancient civilization ruins around the world, the numerous marine fossils found in the Himalayas where Mount Everest is located, and the results of analyzing Earth's rocks, suggesting that land was once submerged in seawater, all indicate the existence of a great flood. Indeed, even if there were truly global floods caused by pole shifts on Earth in the past, and Chan Thomas revealed this truth in his book, most general readers would consider it just a science fiction novel. The CIA would also not classify a mere introduction of pole shifts or a science fiction novel about pole shifts as secret information. This suggests that the Adam and Eve story must contain some other significant content. There is an important point to remember here. The original 286-page edition of the Adam and Eve story was classified by the CIA, but a 240-page version, which is 46 pages shorter than the original edition, was published in 1993 and successfully released to the public. The content of the original 50 pages that the CIA declassified in 2013 is also present in the 1993 revised edition. This implies that the real reason the CIA classified the original edition as secret information might be hidden in those missing 46 pages not included in the revised version. As long as the CIA does not further declassify information, we, as ordinary people, cannot know what those 46 pages are talking about. However, even as ordinary people, we have the right to carefully observe things and express our opinions. Therefore, I would like to present my own speculation about what might be discussed in those 46 pages. Please keep in mind that this is merely a personal imagination without any evidence or basis, just like an SF novel. Enjoy the following content as entertainment. There are various theories on the cause of pole shift or the reversal of the Earth's axis. but one popular theory suggests that a massive celestial body passing close to a planet could cause its rotational axis to tilt or even reverse in a short period of time. If we follow this theory to speculate on the occurrence of multiple axis reversals on Earth in the past, it would imply that a large celestial body had come close to Earth multiple times. If you are a frequent viewer of this channel, you may have already guessed what the celestial body is: the Moon. The discussion from this point strongly links to the video Origin of Humanity previously published by this channel. Similar to the many flood legends, the tales and myths related to the Moon found in various cultures and stories around the world are surprisingly consistent. Our ancestors who lived before the Great Floods did not speak of the existence of the Moon, or seemed unaware of the concept of the Moon itself. However, after the descriptions of the floods began to appear in stories, various tales related to the Moon started to frequently appear. While I have previously shared my own speculations on why this phenomenon occurs in the aforementioned video, I invite you to take a look at it again for a new perspective. In this video, I aim to re-examine the legends of the Moon, great floods, and the truth behind pole shift. This is a scenario that asks you to imagine a scene from ancient times where an advanced extraterrestrial species arrived on Earth in a spacecraft for some unknown purpose. They parked the spacecraft in a location very close to the Earth, using anti-gravity technology to prevent a collision with the planet. At the time, there was no life on Earth, but the extraterrestrials created various forms of primitive life. They monitored the evolution of this life and attempted to create an intelligent life form that would be best suited to the Earth's environment. However, for some reason, their creations were not perfect, and the extraterrestrials repeatedly rebuilt their civilizations. To erase their failures from the Earth's surface, they caused global floods by reversing the Earth's axis in a short period of time, using the tremendous gravitational force of their spacecraft. This caused unimaginable disasters on Earth, and most of the land masses were submerged in the floods. Even flying creatures eventually fell into the ocean due to exhaustion. After the flood subsided, the extraterrestrials returned their spacecraft to its usual location and began creating a new generation of life forms. This scenario was thought to have repeated throughout Earth's history, perpetuating a cycle of the birth and destruction of civilizations. Next, assuming that this entire fabrication is true history, reconsidering why the CIA classified the story of Adam and Eve as confidential reveals a glimpse of the truth shrouded in darkness. The CIA has allowed the publication of a revised version that details the pole shift. This suggests that they have deemed the terror of the pole shift itself is not important for the general public to know. Therefore, the important truth may not lie in the phenomenon itself, but rather in the entity that causes it. If the power to cause a pole shift is not limited to natural phenomena and somewhere an advanced entity can intentionally cause it, then perhaps the lost 46 pages of the first edition of the Adam and Eve story may contain information related to this. It is possible that the reason why the CIA sealed the first edition was that the government knows about this advanced entity, or that the government is an agent of this advanced entity. If we dig deeper, we may find even more, but for now, I think I'd better stop here. I apologize for repeating this, but all of these speculations have no evidence or basis. I am presenting them as entertainment, so please do not take them too seriously. Thank you for watching.